Hello viewers, I am Harike Chaudhary. Welcome to my tutorial class of economics. Today we are going to discuss about price effect, income effect and substitution effect using indifference curve. Okay, and these topics are included in your consumer's equilibrium topic. Okay, so in the last video already I have uploaded the last video. We discussed about consumer's equilibrium. Okay, before going to watch this video, you have to watch that one so that you will understand what is consumer's equilibrium. Okay, so in the last video what we have represented, okay, our budget, we discussed about budget. Okay, consumer's equilibrium, budget is important constant. Okay, this is the equation of budget line. Graphically we can measure this budget line. Okay, so let me start one graph. So y good, again we are taking y good on y axis, x good on x axis. Okay, this is my budget line. Okay, if I plot this equation in a graph, we will get this one. Okay, so this is OB is the vertical intercept. OB will represent, this is the OB. Okay, the slope, that slope is nothing but this is the price ratio, Px by Py. Okay, this is the slope of budget line. Okay, so the meaning is that suppose in our original example, okay, we consider suppose you have 100 rupees as your income. Okay, that much money you have. 10 rupees is the price of x and 20 rupees is the price of y. Okay, just we are taking the same example. Suppose I don't want to consume y, I want to consume only x. That means with 100 rupees, how much I can consume oil? In terms of numerical form, it will be 10 units, but in terms of variable, okay, oil amount we can purchase. That is the meaning. Oil means what? If I only consume x, not y, okay, zero amount of y, then I can purchase whatever money I have. That is the maximum amount, oil amount. Okay. Again, reversely, suppose I am not going to consume x, only y I am going to consume. Then I have n amount of money or 100 rupees. So how much I can consume? That is OB. OB in numerical form, it will become 5 unit. Okay. So this is the, and if you join these 2 points here, it is exactly in numerical form, it should be 5, it should be 10. If you join this 5 and 10 with a line, it is called budget line, and equation form, this is the equation form which is linear. Normally we write in linear equation, y equals a plus bx, this is in linear form. And b is nothing, b is the this slope of the budget line. This is the coefficient, and this is the called vertical intercept, OB. Okay. Now when suppose the price of x has reduced, okay, for some reason price falls, price of x has reduced and the price of y remain constant, same. Okay, so how much we are assuming? Okay, price of x is reduced to 5. Earlier it was 10, now it is 5. Now whatever unit you used to purchase with 100 rupees, now you can purchase more. Earlier you could purchase how much? 10 unit, that is oil. Now you can purchase more than oil, isn't it? Because price has reduced. So your remaining, the price of y constant is 20 rupees. Okay, then in that case your budget line will become, okay, even L1. So if you join this one, this will be your new budget line, BL1. Why it is new budget line? Because though we are assuming price of x has reduced from rupees 10 to rupees 5. Okay, so here we are not going to use numerical values, we are just saying the price of x is reduced, so budget line will shift upward. Okay, and it will start from point B. Again, if we assume the price of x has increased, that means suppose from 10 to 50 rupees, it has increased to 50 rupees, then in that case only you can purchase 2 units of x. Okay, and we are assuming this is 2. If you join, you will get left side. BL is the original line. Okay, if price falls, price of x falls, then it will come to left side. If price of x increases, if price of x increases, it will come to left side. Okay, and if price of x reduces, okay, it will go to right side. Okay, in this way budget line shifts depending upon whose price is changing. Got it? And what the prices of what the commodities are changing. Suppose this is the original budget line and the price of both the commodities are reducing. That means what? Now you can purchase both the commodities more, and the proportion or percentage change of both the commodities are same, and if both the commodities prices are reducing, then your new budget line will become, which will be parallel. Okay, because we are assuming the percentage change in both the commodities are same. Okay, then in that case your new budget line will be BL1, given that your BL is the original budget line. And if the both the commodities prices are increasing, okay, then from BL, original BL line, so your new budget line will become B2 L2. Okay, depending upon whether the prices of commodities are increasing or decreasing, budget line also shifts. Okay. So now with these things, okay, we can now analyze or define what is price effect, what is income effect, and what is substitution. Price effect represents, okay, due to change in prices, the consumption of goods and services changes. Okay, that is known as the price effect. So how to know that one? So in the last video, we discussed about consumer equilibrium. So just let me briefly say, we draw these three different curves. Okay, you remember, you please check the video. Okay, so this point here, A, B, this is the equilibrium point. Okay, so why E is the equilibrium point? We discuss everything in the video. Please go through that one. Now onwards, we are not going to represent the equilibrium with three different curves. Okay, we will directly represent equilibrium point E1. Okay, or in other words, you can say only drawing one inference curve, one budget line will represent the equilibrium. And why this is called the equilibrium? Already this is discussed in the earlier video. Okay. Now given the money income, whatever money income you are having, okay, and the prices of X and Y, say this is our budget, original budget line. Okay, BL is our original budget line, and as a consumer, is in equilibrium at point E. Okay, so this is the point E. Consumer is equilibrium, and he or she is purchasing OY on Y good, OX on X good. Okay, now we assume that the price of X is reduced. Price of X is reduced, then what will happen to your budget line? Then it will shift to right hand side. Okay. Now with the same amount of, that is the same amount of money you can purchase more of X. Okay. But the price of Y remain constant, so it will start from the same point. Okay. But it will go to the right side. Yes. So give you a name BL1. Earlier it was BL, but due to falling prices of X, you are in a position to purchase more of X with the same amount of money. Okay. So your budget line will shift from BL to BL1, and the consumer is in equilibrium at another indifference curve, which is higher than the IC1. Okay, so C E1, and at this E1, how much it is purchasing? It is purchasing OY2 of Y good and OX2 of X good. Okay, so here due to falling price of X, the consumer is increasing the consumption of X good from OX1 to OX2. That is X1, X2 amount consumption of goods of X has increased. Okay, so the movement from point E to E1, or we can assume, we can draw another budget line. If we assume another, okay, if you assume, okay, further the price of X is reduced, so again the budget line will shift. Okay, the new budget line will shift from BAL1 to BAL2, and the consumer is in equilibrium, say. But while drawing, you have to maintain the relationship that two indifference curves cannot intersect each other. Okay, you have to maintain something. There is a problematic while drawing this one. Okay, you have to understand this is the thing. Okay, so this is equilibrium. Then in that case, consumer is purchasing OY3 of Y good and OX3 of X good. Okay, due to fall in prices further of X, further consumer equilibrium is shifting from the lower indifference curve. It is from IC2 to IC3. That is at point E3. Okay. So if we join this equilibrium point with a curve, and that curve will be known as price consumption curve, PCC. This is known as price consumption curve. So what is price consumption curve? Exactly in price consumption curve, okay, PCC, it will represent what? An equilibrium. All points will represent an equilibrium of the consumer, okay, at a higher level of, where the equilibrium at a higher level of indifference curve. Got it? So now you see in the first case, you consider your original budget line is BL. Due to falling price of X for the first time, your budget line shifts from BL to BL1, and the consumer's equilibrium shifts from E to E1. Okay, where his consumption or her consumption of X has increased from OX1 to OX2, that is X1, X2, M1 has increased, and there is a reduction in the consumption of Y by this much amount. So now how to define the price effect? Because of change in the price, the reduction in the price of X, consumption of goods of X has also changed. So this effect is known as price effect. Okay? Why it is happening? Because prices are changing. Sometimes here we are assuming price of X has reduced. You can also assume price of X has increased. Okay? So that is the concept of price effect. Clear? Now we can have one income effect. What is income effect? Consumption of goods and services will change due to change in your income. Okay, here price will remain constant. Okay, but your income level has increased, so consumption of goods and services will also increase. So graphically, how can we represent? Okay, suppose given your budget, okay, amount, so your original budget line is there, your money, income, price of the two commodities are given. With that given information, you can draw your budget line BL. Okay. Now assuming, okay, my income has increased from 100 rupees to 150. Then in that case, both the commodity I can purchase more, isn't it? Suppose we are assuming my income has increased from 100 rupees to, okay, say double, 200 rupees. Then in that case, earlier I could have purchased, I was purchasing 5 units of, okay, Y good, because price was 10, maximum 5 units I can purchase, and no unit of X. In that case, I can double the Y here, B1, or if I won't consume Y only X, then what will happen? So in that case, price of X is 10, now you have 100 rupees, 200 rupees. So earlier you used to purchase, this is BL is nothing but 10 units, now it will become 20 units, isn't it? So I am giving BL1. So if I join this one, so you will get a new budget line which is parallel to your original budget line. Okay? Why it is shifting upward? Because we are assuming our income has increased. Okay? So if we assume that our income has decreased, then it will go left side to the original budget line, B2, L2. Okay? Now suppose we are assuming, okay, this is in the original budget line, the consumer is at equilibrium at point E1. Okay, possible? So what is the combination of consumption of goods? Two goods. He was purchasing OY1 of Y good and OX1 of X good. Okay, at point E1. And his satisfaction level or her satisfaction level is measured by indifference curve 1. Okay, now we assume that the income of the consumer has increased. So his budget line will shift. Okay, now this budget line will be tangent with a higher level of indifference curve, say IC2. Okay, so the consumer will be at equilibrium at point E2, where the consumer is going to consume OY2 of Y good and OX2 of X good. Yes or no? Okay. So and by consuming more the commodities, more of both the commodities, the consumer satisfaction level will be more. So it will be represented by the higher indifference curve IC2. As you know, a higher level of indifference curve represent higher level of satisfaction. Okay, if you join these 2 equilibrium point with the curve, okay, you can extend this one because there may be other indifference curve and your budget line may shift further. Okay, so that's why we are extending. So it is called income consumption curve, ECC. So what does it mean? Basically, if instead of drawing budget line indifference curve, if you know that this is your ICC, income consumption curve, that means each and every point on the income consumption curve, it is an equilibrium point. Equilibrium point means what? It means somewhere it is budget line is there, indifference curve is there. Budget line is there, indifference curve is there. But sometimes we do not draw without drawing budget line indifference curve. If we draw the ICC, okay, from here we can say whether with the increasing income, both the commodities, consumption of both the commodities are increasing or only one commodity is increasing. Okay, that means what? Depending upon the shape of the indifference curve. Okay, it is not necessary always it is upward. The indifference curve, ICC, income consumption curve. Sorry, ICC, income consumption curve may be this way. What does it mean? With the increase in your income level, basically consumption of X good will be reducing. No, not X good, sorry. With the increase in the level of your income, the consumption of Y good will go down. So, this is the consumption. And because we are doing defined income levels now. So defined income levels, with the increase in your income levels, consumption of Y is going down. You are reducing the consumption of Y, but you are increasing the consumption of X. Okay? So it may happen depending upon the nature of commodities. Possible. You may get this kind of ICC. You may get backward bending of ICC. What does it mean? If this is ICC 2 is your income consumption curve, here ICC 1 is the income consumption curve. Okay. If this is the income consumption curve, what does it mean? With the increase in the level of your income, you are reducing the consumption of, okay, you are reducing the consumption of X good and you are increasing the consumption of Y good. So depending upon the nature, what type of shape of the income consumption curve, you can say. Sometimes it happens. Normally, there is a positive relationship between income and consumption of goods or demand of a goods and services. But if the goods and services is inferior, so with the increase in your income level, you are going to reduce the consumption of that good. Okay. So that's why sometimes Y good may be inferior good, sometimes X good may be inferior good. Okay. In this case, if this is the ICC, if this is the case, Y is an inferior good, and X is a normal good. X is normal good because with the increase in your income, you are consuming more of X good. Okay, but if ICC is this is the ICC backward bending towards Y axis, that means your X commodity is an inferior good because your income is increasing, you are reducing the consumption of X. Okay, and Y commodity will be normal good. Okay, so this is nothing but this is called income effect. Okay, so income effect means, again, let me draw the graph. Okay, different income levels. Okay, and different income levels. E1, E2, okay, E3. If you join all these points, equilibrium point only. Okay, this is E3, equilibrium point. If you join all equilibrium point, you will get the ICC. That is movement from lower equilibrium point to a higher equilibrium point. Okay, because of changing in your income, the equilibrium point is changing. Your satisfaction level is also changing. So this is known as income effect. It is the changes in the consumption of goods and services due to changes in income. Okay, so this is income effect. Then now the last one is called substitution effect. Substitution effect means when we study about demand, okay, law of demand, you will probably remember there is an inverse relationship between demand, quantity demanded and price. That is, when price falls, quantity demanded increases. When price increases, quantity demand falls. Okay, so people ask why it is happening. Okay, it is happening. One of the reasons is that because of substitution. We suppose, for example, you can consider the case of tea and coffee. If the price of tea falls, okay, decreases, okay, remaining the price of coffee is constant, then what consumer will find? Consumer will find the tea now become cheaper in comparison to coffee. Okay, that means what? You remember the budget line, the slope is given by this one, and this is known as the relative price. Okay, so that means what? When the price of tea is reduced, so some people will find that okay, now tea become cheaper, so they will substitute tea with coffee. They won't consume coffee, they will substitute tea because tea is cheaper and coffee will be dearer or costly. Okay, so this is known as substitution effect. You are going to substitute the cheaper good with the costlier good. That means what? Your price ratio will change. Earlier, in our earlier example, the ratio was 10 by 20. Now, if the price, we are assuming the price of X is suppose T, price is reduced from 10 to 5 per unit, then in that case, price of Y remaining same. So, what will happen? Here it is 0.5, here it is how much? 0.25. Okay, so price ratio has changed. Got it? Okay, so this is known as substitution effect. People are substituting the cheaper good with the costlier good. That's why you will see the changes in the consumption of goods. Okay, and this effect is known as substitution effect. Clear? When substitution effect, you have to remember your money or your real income remain constant. Okay, when there is a change in the consumption of a goods, okay, only due to the change in the relative prices. Relative prices means that the ratio, price ratio. Okay, only due to changes in the relative prices, remaining your income, real income will remain constant. In that system situation, it is known as substitution effect. Clear? Or okay, let me tell once again. So substitution effect means okay, changes in the consumption of goods and services when the relative prices changes alone, okay, and your real income remains constant. Okay, your consumption of goods and services is changing because of changes in the relative prices. Relative prices means some goods become cheaper in comparison to others. That's why it is called relative prices. You are comparing the price of one commodity with another. Okay, while your real income remains constant. Your real income is not changing. Okay, your real income is constant, but still you are changing the consumption of goods and services because of changing the relative prices of goods. So that is known as substitution effect. Okay, graphically let us understand this one. So again, y-axis we are measuring y good, x-axis we are measuring x good. Original budget line we are showing as BL. Okay, and the consumer is in equilibrium at point E. Okay, now suppose the price of X is reduced, just we assume. Okay, then in that case your budget line will shift to BL1. Okay, now you can purchase more of X. Okay, now the consumer, suppose the consumer is in equilibrium at this point E1. Okay, and the consumer will be on difference curve IC2. Okay, now we know that this is price effect, isn't it? Due to change in prices, consumption, earlier the consumer was consuming OY1 of Y good, OX1 of X good. Now it is consuming OX2 of X good and OY2 of Y good. Okay, price effect. So while analyzing law of demand, you probably remember the law of demand happens or exists because of the 2 or 3 reasons. One is called income effect, substitution effect, and the third one is known as due to the application of law of diminishing marginal utility. Okay, so that means what? When price of a commodity falls, your purchasing power increases. That means with the same amount of money, now you can purchase more goods, or in order to purchase the same amount of goods, you have to spend less amount of money. Either way, you can say. Why? Because your purchasing power has increased because of falling prices. Okay, so that is known as the income effect. Okay, so another effect is that, okay, when the price of a commodity falls, the commodity will become cheaper in comparison to if we compare it with another substitute goods. Okay, like tea and coffee, the price of tea reduces, and then the coffee will become costlier in comparison to tea, or you can say tea will become cheaper in comparison to coffee. So some people who are consuming coffee now will seek to consumption of tea, so they will substitute tea for coffee. Okay, so that's why the demand for tea is increasing, because people are substituting tea with coffee. Okay, so this is known as substitution effect. So in price effect, what happens? Both income effect and substitution effects are present. Okay, but here we are assuming, okay, when the price of X is reduced, okay, the consumer will move from point E to E1. Okay, now, and his or her real income has increased, purchasing power has increased. Now, in order to nullify the effect of increasing his or her real income, okay, let us assume that we have to take away money from the consumer in such a way. Okay, exactly our target is to nullify the increase in real income of the consumer, so that we can say, okay, his or her real income remain constant. So how to do that one? So for that purpose, we have to take away some money from the consumer in such a way so that he will be in a lower budget line in comparison to BL1. So we have to draw the budget line in such a way so that the budget line will parallel to the BL1. Okay, give a name to this point, B star, L star. So what is the meaning? And this budget line should tangent original indifference curve. Okay, IC1. Okay, it is tangent. This is tangent to the IC1 at point E2. Got it? So why we are bringing back the budget line? Because we want to nullify the increase in real income. Why real income has increased? Because the price of X has reduced. So our target is to know how much the relative prices have changed, and due to that one, how much consumption goods of X has changed. That is our target. But when the price of the commodity falls, the purchasing power, the real income also increases. So we don't want to allow the increase in real income. So we want to maintain the real income should remain constant. That's why we are taking away some money. So when we are taking away money from the consumers, so obviously his income will come down. So budget line from BL1 to B star, L star, it is coming down. So in this situation, what happens? The consumer is purchasing how much? OY3 of Y good and OX3 of X good. Okay. Now initially you think before the changing of price, the original budget line was BL. Okay, and the consumer was at point E. Now nullifying the impact, and now we assume that the price of X has reduced, and also we nullify the increase in real income, effect of increase in real income, we nullify. Then after that, what we have seen, the consumer is moving from point E to E2. Okay, so that is movement from E to E2 is nothing but it is because of changes in what? Relative prices. And how to measure the relative prices? This angle. Okay, earlier Px by Py, that is 10 by 20 Now it is again px by py. How much we are assuming? Okay, this way. So relative price has changed. So this value is lesser, that's why angle is lesser. Okay, slope is nothing but this angle. Okay, isn't it? So ultimately this, due to change in the relative prices, what happens? Our original one is this one, BL. Now we are measuring the relative prices by B star, L star, where we are nullifying the effect of real income. Okay, increase in real income. We are maintaining the real income is constant. So consumer consumption of good X has increased from OX1 to OX3. That is, consumer is moving from point E to E2. So this much income, this much consumption, increase in consumption is known as substitution effect. That means, and in order to have this much X, okay, the consumer is reducing this much Y. That is Y1, Y3, consumer is replacing with X1, X3 with this much. Okay, why it is replacing? Because the X good has become cheaper. So consumer is substituting. So this is known as substitution effect. In some books, what you will get, the diagram, it seems complicated, but it is not so complicated. In some books, what you will get, it is written. So this is your original budget line. Okay, due to falling price of X. So this is new budget line, and original budget line you are at equilibrium at this point. Say E naught. Okay. Okay. Now due to some money is taken away from the consumer, so budget line will be a, you have to draw the new budget line so that the impact of changes in real income will be nullified. So this is parallel. You have to assume here it is not parallel. Some mistake is there, but you have to assume that I am drawing the parallel one. So here I see one, the consumer. Originally the consumer was purchasing OY1 of Y good, OX1 of X good. Now it is purchasing OX2 of X good and OY2 of Y good. See, this much Y has been replaced with this much X, and the consumer is at equilibrium at this point. Given name E1. Okay. So this is known as substitution effect. And this substitution effect and income effect is discussed earlier. Okay. So together, if you are comfortable with that one, then with those concepts, we can finally, what we can do, we can bifurcate, or we can bifurcate the income effect and substitution effect. Now we can bifurcate the price effect, P, price effect, this one, into income effect and substitution effect. So this is called, this procedure is known as what? Decomposition of price effect into income effect and substitution effect. The next video we will try to understand that decomposition. Okay. So till now in this video we discussed about price effect, income effect and substitution effect. So this is substitution effect. Okay. So with these things, let us stop here for today. Thank you for watching the video.